My girlfriend admitted she cheated. I needed a real man, she said, her lips curving into a smirk that felt more like a dagger than a smile. My friends sided with her. I didn't argue, I didn't even get angry, I just grabbed my keys, smiled through the discomfort, and left. This morning, my phone blew up with 32 missed calls. Looking back, I realize I should have seen it coming. The signs were scattered everywhere, little fragments of truth hiding in plain sight. But when you've been with someone for 3 years, you tend to ignore the red flags, or at least, I did. I convinced myself it was nothing. It started subtly. Allison began staying late at work more often, which, admittedly, wasn't unusual for her during busy seasons. But then there was the new perfume, one I didn't recognize, and clothes I hadn't seen before starting to pop up in our closet. Her phone, once just a phone, became something she guarded fiercely. It was never more than an arm's length away. I've never been the jealous type, but something felt off. She'd pull away when I tried to hug her while she was texting. She'd step outside to take calls, always claiming they were work-related, and the frequent girls' nights, people I didn't even know, began to multiply. Then, last Tuesday, I was folding laundry when her phone buzzed on the coffee table. A message preview popped up from someone named Jay. "Miss you already, last night was." The rest was cut off, but I didn't need to see more. My stomach sank. I didn't want to be the guy who snooped, but the universe seemed to be screaming at me to open my eyes. When she got home that night, I didn't hesitate. I decided to confront her directly. She was in the kitchen, blending a smoothie, like everything was perfectly normal. I stood in the doorway, watching her, my heart pounding. "Who's Jay?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The change in her posture was instant. She froze, then slowly turned off the blender. But it wasn't just the change in her stance that shocked me, it was the smile that crept onto her face. It wasn't warm or reassuring, it was cold, almost triumphant. "Wondering when you'd finally catch on, Michael," she said, taking a slow sip. "Jay's my boss, and yes, I've been sleeping with him for 2 months now." Her words hit like a slap. No guilt, no shame, just a sense of superiority. "I needed a real man," she continued, her eyes glinting with something like satisfaction. "Someone who knows what he wants and actually goes for it, not someone who spends their weekends playing video games with Jacob and watching dumb movies." I stood there, stunned. 3 years, and this was how she really saw me. The shock was overwhelming, but under it, something else started to rise, an unexpected clarity. "Does Chloe know?" I asked, thinking of our mutual friend who had introduced us. "Oh, she's known for weeks," Allison laughed. "Most of our friends know. They get it. Jay actually has a future, not like you, just dreams and excuses." That one hit harder than the cheating. These people I thought I trusted, had watched all of this unfold, and they'd all kept quiet, probably laughing behind my back. I pulled out my phone and opened my group chat with Jacob and Chloe. "Is this true? You all knew?" Jacob's reply came almost instantly. "Bro, you're great, but Allison deserves someone more established. Don't take it personally." Chloe's message followed quickly. "We didn't want to hurt you, but maybe this is the wake-up call you need." I looked up from my phone, only to find Allison still watching me, that smirk not leaving her face. She was waiting for me to react, waiting for the outburst, the drama, the scene she could tell everyone about. But instead, I smiled, not the fake, forced smile I'd been wearing all these months, but something real. It took her off guard. Without saying another word, I walked to the bedroom, grabbed my go bag, always packed for weekend trips, and collected my laptop and keys. When I walked back through the kitchen, Allison's smirk faltered as she watched me, her expression confused. "Where are you going?" she asked, her voice tight. "Out," I said simply. "And Allison, keep the apartment. I'm sure Jay can help with the rent." She started to say something, but I didn't stay to hear it. The door closed behind me, and as I walked away, I turned my phone off. I didn't want to hear the apologies or the justifications from people I thought were friends. As I drove, I felt something I hadn't expected: relief. Sometimes, losing everything shows you exactly what you never had in the first place. I didn't know where I was headed, but for the first time in months, I felt like I was finally on the right path. Update. Thanks for all the support on my last post. I never expected it to blow up like this. It's been a week, and I'm still processing everything. I'm staying at this small motel on the outskirts of town. It's not glamorous, but it's clean. The owner, Pete, an older guy, seems decent. He even knocked $20 off the weekly rate when he heard my story. I finally turned my phone back on after 2 days of silence. 32 missed calls, 47 text messages. Most were from Allison, some from Jacob and Chloe, a few from numbers I didn't recognize. But the real surprise was the storm of notifications from social media. Allison had been busy. She painted a version of me I didn't recognize. According to her, I was a controlling, jealous boyfriend who had monitored her every move. She claimed I'd emotionally manipulated her for years, isolated her from her friends, and thrown violent tantrums whenever she tried to stand up for herself. And the crown jewel? A tearful video where she claimed I had financially abused her, making her split our bills 50-50 while I hoarded my money. Rich, especially considering she made more than I did and had insisted on that arrangement in the first place. Then came the text from Gemma, a coworker I've known for years. "Hey, you might want to check your email. Something's going around the office about you." Sure enough, there was an email, company-wide, about creating a safe workplace environment, with a thinly veiled reference to concerning behaviors from certain employees. No names mentioned, but the timing wasn't subtle. I should have been furious. Maybe I should have fought back, flooded social media with my side of the story. Instead, I just felt curious. How far would she take this? Pretty far, as it turns out. Yesterday, I walked into our local coffee shop, hoping to escape the mess she'd made. After all, Allison hated their coffee. Safe, right? Wrong. The barista, someone who'd always greeted me with a smile, looked at me like I was something stuck to her shoe. Later, I found out Allison had become a regular, spinning her version of the truth to anyone who'd listen. But here's where it gets interesting. While picking up some clothes from storage, I ran into Juliana, Allison's supposed best friend. She looked nervous, her eyes darting around like she was trying to avoid being seen talking to me. "You need to be careful," she whispered, voice low, like she was sharing a secret. "Jay isn't just her boss, his wife, she's connected. Like, really connected. And Allison's been telling her you're unstable, dangerous, even." I stared at her, unsure of what to make of this. "Why are you telling me this?" Juliana glanced over her shoulder, her face tense. "Because this isn't the first time," she murmured. "Before you, there was another guy at work. Same thing. Allison and Jay, they did the same thing to him. He ended up leaving town." That conversation changed everything. My head spun as I spent the night digging into anything I could find, legal records, old posts, social media accounts. Sure enough, I found a name, Mark something, and it didn't take long to realize he'd disappeared completely from the internet around the time Allison started working at the company. This morning, I got a call from our landlord. Apparently, Allison tried to remove my name from the lease, claiming I'd abandoned the property. When that didn't work, she went a step further, telling him I'd been threatening her. He called me to warn me, mentioning that his sister had gone through something similar years ago. But the real kicker came next. While all this was unfolding, I got a message request on Instagram from an account I didn't recognize. The profile picture was of a woman in her 40s, elegant, wearing expensive jewelry. The message was simple. "I believe we need to talk about my husband and your girlfriend. Coffee tomorrow?" It was signed, Mrs. J. I'm meeting her in an hour. Something tells me this real man story is about to get a lot more complicated. The funny thing is, watching Allison weave this intricate web of lies, watching our friends choose sides based solely on her word, it's actually liberating. Each post, every tearful video, every manipulated story just serves as proof of what I already knew. I'm not losing anything worth keeping. Update 2. Sorry for the delayed update. These past 2 weeks have been a roller coaster. The coffee meeting with Mrs. J, complete game changer. It turns out she's been gathering evidence for months, not just about Allison and her husband, but about a whole pattern of behavior at the company. Remember the guy Juliana mentioned? The one who left town? He wasn't the first. Mrs. J had documented at least 3 similar situations over the past 5 years, young employees getting involved with her husband, only for the company to push them out when they got too close to the truth. But this time, Mrs. J wasn't staying quiet. She had texts, emails, expense reports, even security footage from the company parking garage. But she wanted one last thing, public exposure. And that's where the annual company party came in. I wasn't planning to attend, Why would I? But Mrs. J had other plans. Sometimes, she told me, the best revenge is just letting people show their true colors. The party was at this fancy hotel downtown. I showed up late, dressed better than I ever had for these things. The looks when I walked in, priceless. Allison nearly dropped her drink. Jay's face went from flushed to pale in seconds, like he might pass out right there. But here's the beautiful part, I didn't have to do anything, not a single word. Chloe approached first, clearly tipsy, her voice slurring. You've got some nerve showing up here, she sneered, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. After everything you put Allison through. I smiled, calm as could be. Everything I put her through? Tell me more. And that's when Gemma stepped in. Remember her? The co-worker who'd been quietly gathering her own evidence? Turns out, she'd collected screenshots of Allison bragging about her conquests in company chat groups, recordings of her planning how to spin the story with Jay. Actually, Gemma said, voice steady, I think we'd all like to hear the real story. The next hour felt like watching dominoes fall. Mrs. J timed her entrance perfectly, tablet in hand. The projector flickered to life, and a slideshow started playing, of incriminating messages and photos. Allison's attempts to maintain control of her narrative unraveled in real time. But the real show came from Jacob, you know, the bros before hoes guy. Well, it turned out he'd been filming everything on his phone, planning to show it to Jay later to prove his loyalty. Instead, he managed to capture Allison's complete meltdown on camera. You think you're so clever, she screamed at me. You and that bitter old woman trying to ruin everything I've built. Jay loves me, we're going to have a life together. And that's when Mrs. J dropped the cherry on top, divorce papers already filed. Jay had been promising Allison the same future he'd promised those other employees, same script, different actress. The best part, through all of this, I barely said a word. I just watched as years of manipulation and lies came crashing down in front of everyone. Juliana, who had stayed quiet the entire evening, finally spoke up. I helped her, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I helped her destroy that other guy's reputation. I can't do it again. By midnight, the party was effectively over. Allison had stormed out, mascara streaked down her face. Jay was locked in his office with HR, and those friends who had so quickly believed her stories, they couldn't even look me in the eye. As I was leaving, Mrs. J caught my arm. Thank you, she said, her voice sincere, for being the one who didn't run. I drove back to my motel room feeling oddly at peace. Pete was still up, watching late-night TV. He looked at my face and grinned. Good night. You could say that, I replied. This morning, my phone's been buzzing again. Different tone this time, apologies, explanations, people claiming they never really believed Allison's side of things. But it's too late, the truth is out. Final update. Well, here it is, the final chapter of this saga. And trust me, it's been one hell of a ride. Grab some popcorn because you're going to want to savor this one. First, let's talk about the aftermath of the company party. No one could have predicted how quickly things would unravel. Within 48 hours, both Jay and Allison were asked to resign. But that was just the beginning. Remember those documents Mrs. J had been collecting? Turns out, there was even more than we realized. Every falsified expense report, every email where Jay and Allison plotted against other employees, and every manipulated performance review, she handed it all to the board of directors. The company's legal team moved fast, faster than anyone expected. They didn't care so much about the affair. It was the pattern of workplace harassment and financial misconduct that really caught their attention. Both Jay and Allison are now facing civil lawsuits. And here's the kicker, remember Mark, the guy who left town? He came back, and not just for the reunion tour. He brought receipts, both literal and figurative. Turns out, he documented everything before he disappeared, including the smear campaign Allison and Jay had run against him. He'd just been waiting for the right moment to act. Mrs. J introduced him to her lawyer. 3 days later, Mark filed his own lawsuit. But the real beauty of it, other former employees started coming forward, each with their own stories, their own evidence. What started as one scandal snowballed into an avalanche. And Allison? She tried to get ahead of the storm by posting a tearful video, claiming she was the real victim, manipulated by Jay and now being persecuted. That's when Juliana finally grew a spine. She posted the screenshots of their private chats, the ones where Allison bragged about her conquests. The ones where she plotted how to destroy people's lives. The ones where she mocked her victims. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. Allison showed up at my motel. Pete, the owner, called me at work. "That girl you told me about, she's making a scene in the parking lot." I took my time driving back, already knowing this wasn't going to end well. When I arrived, I found her sitting on the hood of my car, mascara streaking down her face, clutching a manila envelope like it was her last card to play. "I have dirt on everyone," she hissed, trying to sound threatening despite her shaking voice. "If you don't help me stop this, I'll release it all." I laughed. "Go ahead, burn every bridge you have left, let's see how that works out." She threw the envelope at me. Inside were photos, screenshots, private messages, her entire arsenal of secrets and lies. I took pictures of every page while she watched, then handed it back to her without a word. "Release whatever you want," I said, "but first, take a look at where your previous schemes got you. You know the thing about people like Allison? They can't stand when their weapons are turned against them." She tore up the envelope right there in the parking lot, screaming about how we'd all regret this. Someone recorded her tantrum, and by the time she'd driven off, it was all over social media. The final blow came yesterday. Mrs. J's divorce was finalized, and guess what? She got everything: the house, the cars, the majority of their assets. Jay's golden parachute from the company, gone, diverted to cover his mounting legal fees. His reputation, destroyed. His future prospects, let's just say Google's not exactly a fan anymore. As for Allison, I heard she's moving back in with her parents in another state. Her social media is now completely silent. Those friends who sided with her, they're dealing with their own fallout. Turns out, backing the wrong horse comes with consequences. Jacob tried to apologize yesterday. He sent me a long message about how he should have been a better friend, how he regretted siding with Allison. I just replied with a screenshot of his old messages supporting her. He blocked me. Classic coward. Chloe's trying damage control too. She's worried those screenshots Allison kept might impact her own career. Honestly, I almost feel bad for her, almost. As for me, I just signed a lease on a new apartment and got a promotion at work. Funny how removing toxic people from your life clears up so much space for better things. Oh, and I'm seeing someone new, taking it slow, doing it right this time. The best revenge? It's not about scheming or planning, it's living well and letting people destroy themselves. But I won't lie, watching it all burn has been strangely satisfying. This will be my last update. Thanks for following along. Reddit, remember, karma doesn't need your help. Sometimes, you just have to step back and let people show their true colors.